what this country's all about.
I do want to take it on good faith that what you've told me is something I can trust and depend on, but I think that we all have to keep in mind that we have another negotiator involved, and that's God. He's asked us to...
I was so excited. I thought that we had really made some genuine progress because we finally had some tangibles that we thought we could deliver that would facilitate finally ending a very difficult standoff.
Sage's euphoria was short-lived. When Koresh heard the FBI's offer, he rejected it outright, and he forbade any more face-to-face meetings. The FBI responded with even more aggressive tactics. Hour after hour, the Davidians were bombarded with sound. And then with searchlights and helicopters.
Big play, rabbits being slaughtered, stuff like these boots are made for walking, you know, and that's an actual one of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you. And I've got a brand new box of matches. You know, you're gonna get burnt, stuff like that, and to keep us awake.
90% of the time when they would play a song, they would warp it and they'd, you know, put it way up shrill, or they'd slow it way down, you know, and it's all, you know, playing on your head, I guess.
Psychological operations, whatever, do not work. Particularly with a situation like this, with the Branch Davidians, it's not going to drive them out, it's going to drive them in. When we found out that these noises were being played and everything without our knowledge, or to say permission is an overstatement, we were livid. I was livid.
What the hell's going on? These tactics are pushing them closer together. We're playing right into Koresh's hands. This is not gonna bring him out. We're losing their trust, Jeff. They don't trust us.
But despite the continuing protests from the negotiation team, the escalation in aggressive tactics did at last seem to produce results. Koresh ordered a number of followers to surrender to the FBI. Amongst them was Sheila Martin. But her husband Wayne and her 4 remaining children were to stay at Mount Carmel.
I remember when my husband came over to me to say goodbye to me.
Hey.
He told me he was going to stay inside and he was going to wait with the other people to make sure everybody was out.
You talk to those kids for me, okay?
Okay.
I love you, Sheila.
I remember my son. I remember him having tears in his eyes. And I remember him standing there. And I remember him saying goodbye. And he wasn't saying too much. But I haven't forgotten the tears.
Sheila Martin and 11 other Davidians, including Catherine Schroeder, surrendered and were immediately arrested. All were held as material witnesses. Catherine would later be charged with conspiracy to murder.
Do you have any comments about the standoff?
Anything you want to tell the folks you want to say, Kathy? Are you concerned about your friends inside still?
Are you scared? Still have faith in David? Do you have a message?
They'll send you to prison for years for nothing. Because they're the United States government. Whether you're an American citizen or an Arab, doesn't matter who you are. You better listen to the American government. Just big bullies, pushing their way into every corner of the world.
Despite Koresh's gesture, the FBI commanders were in no mood to offer anything in return. Instead, the tanks now began to destroy everything outside the compound, including David Koresh's cars.
I tell you what, being an American first, I'm the kind of guy that I'll stand in front of a tank, you can run over me, but I'll be biting one of the tracks. No one's gonna hurt me or my family. That's American policy here.
There was a level of frustration from the tactical teams that felt that the ongoing negotiation efforts weren't getting us anywhere, that we were actually playing into David Koresh's hands as far as facilitating the delay tactics and so forth.
Over the coming weeks, no one else surrendered. By the 6th week of the siege, there were still 83 people, including 21 children inside. With no electricity, sanitation, or running water, they were forced to survive on a stockpile of military rations.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
The only water we were living on throughout the siege was rainwater that we collected in buckets put outside the windows. The amount dished out to everybody was about this much in a glass for the day.
All right. Don't drink it too fast.
Despite the hardship, Koresh seemed to have total control over all those who remained inside with him, and his conversations with the negotiating team became increasingly hard-lined.
You know who I am. You know who I claim that I am. I'm the Christ. The King of Kings. Lord of Lords. Prince of the Kings of the earth. Yeah. What shall I say? Shall I lie? No, I will not lie. And as I said to you before, my Father, who sits on the throne, said to wait. And you're being judged.
We felt David Koresh could lead those people to oblivion, like the Jonestown Massacre, for example, that led to over 600 people taking their lives willingly to follow this cult leader.
The thinking was that the situation was getting more dangerous each day, okay? We were not going to talk any more people out of there. I asked the negotiators to do an analysis. Byron wrote a memorandum saying he thinks that there's not going to be any more effective negotiation to get anybody out.
I was admitting that we had failed. And that's not an easy thing for any of us to do.
The negotiation team had tried for 7 weeks to bring about a peaceful end to the siege, but every initiative had met with failure. With a growing fear that the Davidians might commit mass suicide, Sage and his negotiators reluctantly came to the same conclusion as their commanders. The only way to end the siege was by force. In Washington, the head of the FBI and the U.S. Attorney General Janet Reno approved a huge tear gas assault on Mount Carmel. After 51 days, the FBI were ready to forcibly end the siege.
Digital photography is more than just pushing a button. Find out how much more in the independent 7-day digital photography course. You'll learn all about getting the best out of your digital camera and taking great shots. And you'll even get software to retouch your photographs on screen. Starts this Saturday and continues all next week, only in the Independent.
Only when you truly understand it can you create extraordinary fuels. Shell, made to move.
All these old designer handbags.
You should sell them on eBay.
Yes, I'll buy them. Really? And this red velvet jacket.
Perfect. I'll bid.
As for this feather boa.
Love it.
Nice wardrobe.
Hello.
Northeast England. Passionate people, passionate places. Discover your perfect holiday or short break at visitnortheastengland.com.
More is a thank you. More is a year's free breakdown cover for new car insurance customers. We love more, that's why we do more. Call 0800 300 800 for a quote or visit us at morethan.com.
Change is normal. A little grey here and a new wrinkle there. But when I noticed my gums starting to recede, I was concerned. I decided to use new Colgate Time Control.
Clinical trials show that Colgate Time Control's formula penetrates gums and makes them up to 73% healthier, helping prevent them from receding further. Colgate Time Control also contains vitamin E.
I haven't felt this good about my smile in years. You can't control time, but you can control its effects.
New Colgate Time Control. Everyday protection against time.
Mouth ulcer. Remember your last one. This time, don't put off treating. Send in Bonjela Cool straight away. It helps stamp out germs, quickly soothes, and reduces swelling. Don't suffer. Send in Bonjela Cool.
Peugeot 307 SW HDI. Now with 0% finance. Text offer to 60222. Peugeot, the drive of your life.
What goes through the mind of a police marksman when his gun is trained on a human target? Day of the Sniper follows inside Waco.
Those of you inside the Branch Davidian compound, we're in the process of placing tear gas into the building. This is not an assault. You're not entering the building. Do not fire your weapons.
Okay, everybody, we gotta move. We gotta go into the bunker. Come on, we gotta go to the bunker now, everybody, please. We gotta move right away.
Somebody start yelling, you better grab gas masks. So those of us, at least in that area, put gas masks on.
Move it, quick, come on, get in the bunker. Move it, come on, quick.
People running around hysterical, and the children, you know, the gas mask couldn't fit them, so we had to get wet towels and put them round the face and put the gas mask over.
Stephen, it is time to submit and surrender to the proper authorities. Those of you inside the Branch Davidian compound, we are in the process of placing tear gas in.
The plan was to inject the gas starting at each end of the building and then back away and then go up and do it some more. Back away, some more. Just make the place uninhabitable. That was the idea. We hoped they'd come out immediately. This is CS gas, grab the children, let's get out of here.
Do not fire your weapons. Fire, in return. Not shoot.
We started punching holes in the building with the tanks and started spraying the tear gas in, and when your eyes would run, with tears. My skin was burning, my eyes were, my throat was burning.
The FBI claimed that 4 minutes into the assault, the Davidians began shooting at the tanks. The FBI had been authorized by the Attorney General to use appropriate deadly force if they met with armed resistance. Now the gas attack, originally planned to last up to 48 hours, was accelerated.
This is not an assault. Do not fire your weapons. Do not.
When they started firing at us, gas was put in the windows where they were firing from.
As more and more tear gas entered the building, Koresh ordered the women and children to take refuge in an underground shelter. Clive Doyle, Wayne Martin, and Derek Lovelock sought refuge in the Mount Carmel chapel.
I didn't want to go outside, afraid that we might be shot. There's tanks out there, so we're just there, scared, staying in that one position, and afraid to run out because we could be shot.
For the next 2 hours, Mount Carmel was engulfed with tear gas. But no one was coming out. The FBI plan was not working.
As this tear gas operation continued through the morning hours, they didn't come out.
We conclude that the gas is not reaching them. So we decide to use one of the tanks to go through the front doors and insert gas in that middle area.
The tanks tried to create escape routes by punching holes in the walls to encourage the Davidians to come out. But instead, this caused parts of the building to collapse.
I was punching the holes in the building at the front. The first floor, what we call the first floor, fell down to the ground floor. So that blocked any escape, and we're all terrified, hysterical.
My gas mask clogged up. I thought, well, this is useless. I'll just take it off, so I can breathe. My face just started burning like crazy. So I said, hey, I'd rather suck air through the block filter than have that stinging, burning sensation. We're looking out, and there's a tank right across from us. There's people outside the tank with guns. We knew there were snipers all around us. So we're a little dubious as to what would happen if we jump out this hole.
Four hours into the attack, and the FBI had fired over 300 ferret rounds and pumped 20 canisters of tear gas into the building. but the 83 Davidians remained steadfastly inside with their leader.
Each time the tank came through the front door area, each trip they penetrated deeper and deeper. I remember somebody saying, Wayne, what should we do?
I suggest we start praying.
He says, I suggest you pray.
I shall not want. He maketh me lie down in green pastures, he restoreth my soul. He will walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. My God and myself, they comfort me.
6 hours into the gas attack, the FBI plan had gone disastrously wrong.
When that smoke started to curl out of that southwest corner of that building, I literally had to turn my back to that monitor to stay focused on what I was trying to get done. And that was to now begin to plead with them to come out of that building. And I tried to address David directly.
David, you claim to be their savior. Now do the right thing and save them. Now don't let this end like this.
Somebody shouted fire. So we thought of fire, oh my God, fire. And we're trapped in here and we're scared to go outside.
It has never been established how the fire began. The FBI claim the fires were deliberately started by the Davidians, but survivors say they were caused by tear gas canisters fired into the compound.
I literally saw a wall of flame, and it went from my left to my right, shoot in front of me down the hallway. Incredibly loud. You heard it over the tanks, over everything. It was just this huge, rapid wall of flame shooting down the hallway.
Getting hotter and hotter and hotter, and I could hear my friends, I could recognize from, the voices who they were, I could hear them moaning. And obviously they were being burnt. So I couldn't bear it no more, and I made for the hole where the tank had punched, and the smoke was billowing out through there.
The question was, if we jump out, will they shoot us? I'm rolling around, getting burned, basically, and I could hear the voices further into the building, further away from this hole than I am, screaming. The flames are reaching them. And I recognized the voices. That kind of galvanized me to kind of dive or fall or stumble toward where I figured the hole was.
I remember looking around the corner to see if I could see any of the kids or large numbers of people coming out, and I didn't see anybody coming out.
83 people were inside Mount Carmel as the inferno fanned by the wind took hold. Only 9 managed to escape. 74 died in the fire, including 21 children and 2 pregnant women.
I regret it, absolutely. It haunts me every day. Something reminds me of it every day. And I'd give anything if we wouldn't have done it. The circumstances that we provoked led to the fires that day. There's no question about that. Did we set the fires? No. Did we cause any fires? No.
But to the Davidians, the events of the 51-day siege were the realization of everything that David Koresh had prophesied.
The government played right into the prophecies. There was no way for it to have ended any differently. Everyone in there was going to die because we were ready to die.
The body of David Koresh's deputy, Steve Schneider, was discovered in the remains of the building with a single gunshot wound to the mouth. The preacher who foresaw the end of the world had led 74 of his followers to their deaths in the fire. David Koresh was discovered alongside Steve Schneider, killed by a single gunshot to the head. Following the fire, Derek Lovelock was held in custody for 7 months before being released without charge and returned to England. Catherine Schroeder spent 3 years in prison and now lives in Florida. Natalie Norbrega returned to London. Her mother died in the fire. Clive Doyle suffered first-degree burns. His 18-year-old daughter was killed in the inferno. All that remains at Mount Carmel today is a small chapel for the few remaining Branch Davidians. Sheila Martin still lives in Waco and remains a Branch Davidian, despite losing her husband Wayne and 4 children at Mount Carmel.
Every day I have glimpses and memories, and every day I think, can I remember their voices or anything? Yet at the same time, the Bible says we're not to grieve as others do. We have the hope of the kingdom. We have the belief that we'll go see our families again.
You can tell us what you think about the FBI's handling of the Waco siege at channel4.com/culture. Next on 4, how a hostage situation was handled when a police marksman was asked to take a fatal shot for the first time.
With comprehensive cover from Norwich Union Direct, we'll replace your child's car seat after an accident even if it doesn't look damaged. And we'll give you an extra discount if you and your partner insure with us. And every week, a Mini can be won with any new or renewed car policy. Contact us and see how we can make you happy.
You ride on the left down deserted lanes named in French, past the finest restaurants serving the freshest seafood, past magnificent castles and towers that will leave you lost for words, down to unspoiled, uncrowded beaches and rock pools of boundless fascination, warmed by more sunshine than anywhere else in the entire British Isles, and miles of clean golden sand where your cares will drift away. Discover another world that's closer to home.
Looking for a home? Visit primelocation.com. No other website has all the properties from the country's leading estate agents. Everything. Townhouses, country houses, flats, new homes and properties abroad. So if you're looking to buy or rent, visit primelocation.com. And if you're selling or letting, make sure you choose a Prime Location agent. primelocation.com. Don't move home without it.
With 0% finance over 4 years, the new Scenic's always ready for the next big thing.
Hi. Hi. A top brand is Toshiba Equum A100-337. It's got Intel Centrino Duo mobile technology with an Intel Core Duo processor that enables you to run several demanding applications at the same time.
Wow.
Vista is included. Your laptop will be more secure, easier to use, and more fun.
How much extra?
Nothing. It's installed and ready to go with dual-core technology for just $499.
And it's a Toshiba.
Exactly.
I'll have one.
Internet prices to take home today. PC World. The best of both worlds.
Well, when I was diagnosed with cancer, it felt like the world stopped. Not me. Not now. What about the kids? They're so young. How do you say goodbye when they've only just learnt to say goodbye? Today, I was told I got my life back. I can't tell you how good it feels.
Visit cancerresearchuk.org. Together we will beat cancer.
This is the story of our biggest mission yet. To keep cutting prices on our leading products. And only when we cut an amazing 3,000 prices were we ready to unveil our best ever catalogue filled with some of our lowest ever prices. And the moral of the story is, for our best ever value, get your new catalogue now. Don't shop for it, Argus it.
Normal IQ is 100. He's got an IQ of 170.
Do I really want to be marked as gifted for the rest of my life? I might just be the only human being in a sea of robots for what I know.
It can be a curse.
A landmark series following 10 exceptional kids into adulthood. Child Genius. Next Thursday at 9 on 4.
Another block party track for you to choose from at midnight. First on 4, this is how dramatic events led to a police sniper taking the ultimate decision.
This is the story of an extraordinary hour in the life of one of North America's major cities. On the 25th of August 2004, a hostage crisis played out in front of thousands of commuters and millions of TV viewers. At 8 o'clock that morning, two strangers started their day. They would never meet, but within 60 minutes, one would have taken the other's life.
The hair's all standing up in the back of my neck. I'm getting that feeling that, I'm going to have to do something here.
Using footage from the scene, live TV reports, and police radio communication, this is a moment-by-moment analysis of a very public hostage standoff,
which ended with a sniper being asked to take a deadly shot for the first time in his life.
Can you really, really make this shot? And again, don't miss.
Toronto, Canada, 8 a.m. Like any other weekday morning, the streets were filled with commuters. Downtown in the city, it was business as usual.
19 degrees, temperature right now, 40% chance of showers this afternoon.
One person on his way to work was Gordon Lusby. He's 39 years old, has a wife, and lives in the suburbs. His neighbors like him. He is also one of Toronto's deadliest men. Gordon is a member of the Emergency Task Force, Toronto's SWAT team. Every day, he practices for over 3 hours to perfect a skill he hopes he'll never have to use. Gordon is a sniper, and he's trained to kill.
You obviously have that in the back of the mind that one day you might have to take someone's life. No one wants to. I didn't come to the ETF to become a SWAT team member to take a life, but you might have to do that.
Across the city, another man was starting a very different day. Out-of-work chef Anthony Brooks had a score to settle. He already had a long history of domestic violence and abuse.
Threats to throw his wife down the stairs, I believe, holding a knife to her throat, and almost most bizarre was driving around his neighborhood with a fireplace iron poker looking for a 16-year-old son.
In March 2004, Brooks put a knife to his wife's throat and told her he was going to kill her. After 18 years of abuse, Marlene Brooks finally reported her violent husband to the police. Brooks was taken to court and charged with domestic assault.
The fact that eventually the wife testified against Anthony means that this person was shamed in front of his family, colleagues, friends. And this is stressful, this is difficult to deal with. And again, this is another thing that can lead to a loss of self-control.
Brooks was sentenced to 30 days in prison and forbidden from contacting his family.
While incarcerated, it's believed that Brooks has developed a friendship or relationship with other inmates. And in doing so, he's found out where he can get a gun.
Driven by anger at his estranged wife's testimony against him, he was determined to take revenge. On the morning of August 25th, Brooks was due to attend anger management training. Instead, he took the gun and walked out of his door for the very last time.
He travels to the Royal Bank Tower, and it's clear from videotapes that we've seized that he's laying in wait, waiting for Marlene Brooks to attend to her place of business. And the firearm appears to be concealed down the front of his pants. He ultimately, at about 8:01 a.m. thereabouts, he spots Marlene Brooks and the chase is on. Mr. Brooks gives chase and he runs towards a restaurant known as Mr. Greek. And that's where the first shot is fired. And that's when she begins to run and he fires 2 rounds from a sawed-off .22 caliber rifle.
I saw him, he was carrying a gun. They were coming from that way, all the way this, right here. They were already here. And I was calling to the cops, right? And both of them, they started running and they went all the way down there. And then she fell down. And then he started hitting from the gun to the lady on her head.
With eyewitnesses dialing 911, Brooks needed a way out. With no clear sense of what to do next, he ran from the shopping mall. A gunman was now loose on the streets of Toronto in the middle of rush hour. Police emergency control instantly broadcast details of the shooting and the suspect.
10-4, getting information now that it's a female that's been shot
Suspect was last seen towards the elevator in the food court.
What time is that, Richard?
10 miles away at the Emergency Task Force's base, Gordon Lusby heard the call come in.
One of us has to fill and work the station operator. So this morning, of course, my number was up to work the desk.
Where's the show going on today? Eric was here.
The radio dispatcher will contact you personally. Then you give the information to the team. So if any serious calls come over that you monitor throughout the city, which is quite a few, we can have over 100 calls a day. So just sitting at the desk, listening to everything unfold.
ETF base, Lusby.
As he listened in from the desk, Gordon Lusby didn't yet know if the emergency task force would be needed. Downtown in the city, a gunman was at large on the streets.
Now saying there was 3 shots fired, someone yelling, someone's been shot. 803.
Toronto police officer Jeffrey McDuff was on routine duty outside the shopping mall. He was coming to the end of his shift when he heard the police dispatcher's broadcast.
The only description so far is a male, black, 30 to 40 years, heavy build, wearing a green and beige shirt, black pants.
For some reason, I just happened to look across the street. I just picked out a male who matched the description.
885-2 Charlie, I'm right there, dispatch above it at Bay and Wellington.
I didn't catch up to him until we were near the Royal York Hotel. This area was incredibly busy at the time. I guess a train had just let out commuters that were heading to work, so there was a lot of people. I got to within about 5 to 6 feet of him, and as I was moving to my right, my portable radio went off up here, and he heard it. He immediately spun around without hesitation and drew a sawed-off .22 caliber rifle and pointed it directly at me.
How, where, when, why, how, why, how, when, why, where, how, why, when, why, where, how, why. New Kia Ceed with 7-year warranty.
There's no need to be superstitious when you have Hiscox Home Insurance. Nearly half the claims we pay would not have been covered by a standard insurance policy. Hiscox. Extraordinary cover.
Still looking for cheaper car insurance? Haven't you heard? Hastings Direct has been named as the cheapest car insurance provider for 2006. 0800 00 1066. 4 out of 5 people could save on their car insurance by calling Hastings Direct. Why not see how much you could save? They insure motorcycles too. Don't pay too much for your insurance. Call Hastings Direct now. 0800 00 1066.
Thomson fly from 24 airports across the UK, so you'll be closer to your holiday destination than you might think. Thomson.
It's frustrating when your ideal home is just out of reach. Abbey have a range of mortgages that could help you lower your monthly payments. We'll work out how much you can afford to borrow and could lend you up to 5 times your income, making it easier to buy your perfect home. Call 0800 80 80 80 or visit your local branch. Abbey, more ideas for your money.
Hi.
Hi.
A top brand is Toshiba Equilibrium A100-337. It's got Intel Centrino Duo mobile technology with an Intel Core Duo processor that enables you to run several demanding applications at the same time.
Wow.
Vista is included. Your laptop will be more secure, easier to use, and more fun.
How much extra?
Nothing. It's installed and ready to go with dual-core technology for just $499.
And it's a Toshiba.
Exactly.
I'll have one.
Internet prices to take home today. PC World. The best of both worlds.
You'll find up to an extra 50% off many sale prices. House of Fraser sale ends Sunday.
So, I was at the bus stop with Jenkins and he showed me this offer for Tiscali. Unlimited broadband for only $9.99 a month, including modem, connection and free weekend phone calls. Really? And then he showed me something else. No, what to do, call the police? Don't be daft. Broadband and free weekend calls for $9.99. I called Tiscali.
For unlimited broadband for $9.99 for the first 3 months, call Tiscali on 0800 107 9000.
Test drive the new Kia Ceed for 3 days, and 100 of you could continue testing it for a whole year. Visit kia.co.uk for details and eligibility.
When you come home from school, what jobs do you have to do?
Make their tea, get the washing up the dryer, and make the bottles, do boys nappy, make them all go to sleep at night.
Imagine if your childhood involved helping 2 blind parents and being mum and dad to your 4 younger brothers too. Age 12 and looking after the family. Monday at 9 on 4.
Toronto, 8:05 a.m. Rush hour. Anthony Brooks had just shot at his wife. Now he was locked in a standoff with a lone police officer and was staring at him down the barrel of a sawn-off rifle.
I immediately yelled gun. I stepped to my right. I drew my service weapon. I issued the police challenge, police don't move. I ordered him to drop the gun. And just as I'm about to get closer to him, 2 ladies walked directly between us. The whole time he's just staring at me, got the gun pointed at me, and he's not saying a word. And again, I ordered him to drop the gun, and it was at this time that he turned and started to run south towards Front Street.
There are 3 million people in Toronto. There are countless television sets and a multitude of channels on air day and night.
So he'd be there by 3, he could shoot for half an hour.
Vigilant news teams keep a constant watch over city life.
We have 7 or 8 or 9, maybe 10 television stations, a whole host of radio stations. It's very competitive. 3 all-news stations that are going 24 hours a day. We have one, CBC has one, and City TV has one, and we go live to a lot of events.
We have what are called the Eyes of Toronto, which are cameras strategically placed around the city. One of those cameras is on top of the CN Tower that looks eastward down into the downtown core.
The Eyes of Toronto give local station City TV a panoramic view of the city, and their live breakfast show keeps their audience in the picture. But that morning, the regular TV schedules were about to be dramatically interrupted. 8:06 a.m. Officer Macduff was chasing an armed gunman. They were heading for Union, the busiest station in Toronto.
Your location, unit in foot pursuit.
As he's running away from me, I'm running, I have my gun in my right hand, I've got my left hand on my radio, and I'm broadcasting that I'm in a foot pursuit of a male with a gun.
Michelle, you're 42?
Yeah. The situation was escalating with every second. The police dispatcher scrambled Toronto's SWAT team, the emergency task force.
Team 1, suit up. Team 1, suit up.
When you hear a call like that, it's getting pretty serious. And then add on to the stress that I'm sitting at the front desk watching my teammates go down to it, and it's pretty tough to swallow.
I was driving that day, and once we got into the vehicle, I made sure that Chris put his seatbelt on and I put mine on. We were driving onto the shoulder, squeezing past cars within inches with the sirens and everything blaring.
Because he was manning the desk, sniper Gordon Lusby was left behind. He had no idea of the role he was soon to play in the developing drama.
10-4, ETF base on the way.
The ETF base is 10 miles away from Union Station. It would take them 20 minutes to get to where Officer Macduff was single-handedly dealing with a gunman. Much closer were Toronto's TV stations, just a couple of blocks away, and news was travelling fast. They were listening in to police transmissions and were soon scrambling their camera crews to the scene.
I heard the call on one of our police scanners. Now, he had already been, afterwards you find out that he had already fired shots in the underground, but the first call I heard was for a man running down the street armed with a gun.
Local news department has police scanners, everybody does, I suppose, and so they probably found out about it that way, and of course our newsrooms were inundated with phone calls from people.
Officer Macduff was chasing Anthony Brooks towards Union Station. The gunman didn't know where to turn.
This may be a tipping point right here where he just no longer feels that he has control over his life at this point. He's got, the stress is overwhelming, and maybe it's boiled over, and now he's a desperate man.
Among the thousands of commuters making their journey to work that morning was 20-year-old Nicole Regis. She was on a summer job, and that Wednesday was her last day working at the Royal Bank of Canada.
It was a route that she took every day. She'd get off the train, and she'd cross the busy streets in downtown Toronto, and she'd head over to the plaza. It was a short distance, surrounded by people, all busily hurrying to their office towers. She was on her way to work, and it should have been a beautiful summer day.
Nicole Regis was oblivious to the drama she was about to walk into. 8:11 a.m. Thousands of people were on their way to work. Officer Macduff had pursued Brooks as far as Union Station.
I'm telling him not to move, and I'm yelling at people to get away, get into cover. This male is armed, and just out of the corner of my eye, I see this young woman walking, and he looked at her, and I looked at her, and he just reached out and grabbed her.
Suddenly, she felt someone touch her on the shoulder,
Put his left arm around her,
grab her around the neck. She thought it was a friend, the kind of things friends jokingly do.
He put the gun to her head and hid behind her.
Like a nightmare, she realized this was no one she knew. He whispered in her ear. She can remember that whisper. He told her he wouldn't hurt her.
Suspect has a female hostage, the southbound front towards Union Station.
I started to talk to him. I asked him to let her go. I told him, just put your gun down, we can deal with this. He wasn't talking to me at all. He was very upset. He was whispering constantly to the young lady. I knew this man was on a mission, and he had a purpose or a function that day.
8:12 a.m. Officer Macduff found himself dealing with a hostage crisis, which he wasn't trained to handle. What he needed was a negotiator. Sergeant Tom Sharkey, Vietnam veteran, is the Emergency Task Force's chief hostage negotiator.
We do hundreds and hundreds of calls, and that usually goes very smooth. And I've done close to 1,000 calls. Everything from talking people off bridges to people holding knives to people's throats, people holding guns, and 99% I can resolve them by talking the person down.
But this situation was going to test even his powers of persuasion. 8:13 a.m. Officer Macduff was left trying to talk Brooks back from the brink. Sergeant Sharkey and the ETF were battling through traffic. But the news cameras were already at the scene, and they were rolling.
There just happened to be 2 camera crews downtown in the area where the hostage taking went on. They were on the scene almost immediately. They were within a few feet of this man with his gun and his hostage and police officers.
As I'm looking at him this way, here comes a guy with a big news camera on his shoulder running down, and he's about 10 to 15 feet away from me to my right. So I had to yell at him to get back and get out of the way. I couldn't believe how fast he showed up, where he came from or whatnot.
A man was holding a gun to the head of a woman in the middle of one of Toronto's busiest streets. Commuters were pouring out of the station, and news cameras were on every corner. Toronto's hostage crisis was becoming critical. Police officers struggled to contain the gathering crowds.
You're in the crossfire. Let's go.
Hold up. Please, front pedestrians. I can see they're right in the line of fire right now. Please, the officer down there, would you clear those pedestrians out of the way, away from the line of fire?
Officer, sorry, but you're gonna have to get everybody out of this line of direction. Everybody, you guys too. You guys too. Please. Go.
8:30, welcome back to Breakfast Television. We have breaking news for you right now from the streets. Toronto police are engaged in an apparent hostage situation. These are live pictures right now. Indications are that a man armed with a gun is holding a woman outside Union Station.
CBC's Darren Boisvert is at Toronto's Union Station right now. Darren, tell us what you know, what you're able to see there.
They have cordoned off a section of the inside of the train station because it is a possible site of crossfire.
There was plainclothes police officers, uniformed police officers, and the city police that are on their bicycles in the lycra get-ups. It was just sort of surreal, you know, plainclothes men, guns pulled on the corner, more out of a Hollywood movie than it was in downtown Toronto. I couldn't get any information from any of the police that were there. And of course, the ones with their guns pulled, it's not like I was really tapping them on their shoulder.
The media wanted the best view of the developing crisis. News producer Angela Naus found it in the hotel right opposite.
So I came in and I went to the window, looked down, and could not believe my eyes. I had the clearest view of sort of what was unfolding in front of me.
Angela was perfectly placed to report on what was going on.
I'd never reported before, so for me it was a shock, and I took a big deep breath, and the next thing I heard was Harry Forstall, the anchor, saying, joining us now from Union Station, CBC News producer Angela Naus.
Angela, bring us up to date if you can. What is happening there?
Hi, Harry. What I can tell you is I'm on the second floor of the Royal York, where we have quite a clean sight of a man who has a woman, we're assuming, as a hostage. He's bearing a gun in his right hand and has his arm around her neck.
The 10-man ETF team arrived at the scene.
All hands on deck, if you will, when it comes to Toronto Police, ETF, Tactical Squad, you name it. Everyone is out there trying to handle this situation. We're going to try to confirm exactly what's going on, but we are hearing that...
Negotiator Sergeant Sharkey and the ETF instantly took up tactical positions. With a gunman at large in an open street, their first priority was to contain the situation.
My job basically is just to fill in the holes as a team leader. I just basically took a look around, saw what avenues or what things needed to be done, and I directed a few people. Like, we needed somebody on the opposing side of the street, and we tried to set up like an L-shaped configuration so we don't avoid shooting each other. It's like we don't put ourselves in a crossfire situation.
With his team in place, Sergeant Sharkey prepared to start negotiating. His role, to persuade the armed hostage taker to surrender.
Get some of these divisionals cleared out.
Negotiation is something we take very, very seriously here. The primary thing for us is to establish a rapport, get a speaking relationship with the individual, try to bring the individual down, and try to get a resolution that we can resolve the scene peacefully.
40 feet away, Sergeant Sharkey was positioned so that he could speak to Brooks, look him in the eye, but also take cover if necessary.
I just explained to him I wanted to talk to him, I didn't want to hurt him, showed him I had a radio in my hand, showed the other hand was empty, and I left my soft cap on. In other words, just trying to get him to look on me a little bit different than the guys around him with the helmets and the guns. I've done hundreds and hundreds of speaking to people in just about every situation you can imagine, and I've always been able to get at least an initial conversation going. This was different. There was no conversation with this guy.
Male's now moving with the female still in front of the rail station. He's getting really jittery.
Steve, watch out, he's going your way. Watch out.
With the life of Nicole Regis hanging in the balance and a gunman who wouldn't talk, Sharkey knew the time for negotiation was running out fast.
Starts here. Auris, the new Toyota.
More is a thank you. More is your own personal customer manager who's there to help. More is going the extra mile. More is a year's free breakdown cover for new car insurance customers. We love more. That's why we do more. Call 0800 300 800 for a quote or visit us at morethan.com.
The curry sale ends Wednesday. Save £50 on this Olympus 6 million pixel digital camera, now £99. And save £60 on this large capacity 1400 spin hot point washing machine, now £269. So hurry down to Curry's and bag yourself a bargain.
You just call out my name.
Vitality with the goodness of 3-in-1. There are so many yogurt drinks these days. Some contain probiotics, some contain prebiotics, and some even contain omega-3. But only Muller Vitality contains all 3 ingredients in one little package. So have one Muller Vitality a day and get the goodness of 3-in-1.
Only when you truly understand it can you create extraordinary fuels. Shell, made to move.
World Trade Center, on DVD now.
We know he's alive.
It's a triumph, says Uncut Magazine. World Trade Center, own it on DVD now.
This is the story of our biggest mission yet. To keep cutting prices on our leading products. And only when we'd cut an amazing 3,000 prices were we ready to unveil our best ever catalogue, filled with some of our lowest ever prices. And the moral of the story is, for our best ever value, get your new catalogue now. Don't shop for it, Argus it.
We're going to take you live back to Front Street, where we are understanding that Toronto police are engaged in an apparent hostage situation, and there we have members of the ETF.
Wednesday, 25th of August, 2004. An isolated shooting incident had become a full-scale hostage crisis, right in the middle of Toronto's rush hour. And it was all unfolding under the gaze of the city's cameras. Gunman Anthony Brooks' attempt to murder his wife had failed. Then he snatched a stranger from the street and put a gun to her head.
I began speaking to him. tell him we wanted to resolve the scene peacefully. We didn't want to hurt him. We wanted to make sure the young lady wasn't hurt. And basically on that theme, I kept asking him, could he please drop the gun? Would he please speak to me?
We see negotiators not that far from him, maybe 30 feet from him, that have been talking to him, telling him to put down the gun. There's no talking going on right now.
This gentleman here just ignored me totally. After maybe 5-6 minutes of constantly pleading with him to speak to me, to try and resolve this peacefully, he basically only said a couple of lines. And all he said to me during the whole thing was, if you want to talk to me, come here. And that basically was all he said to me.
The one person who Brooks would talk to was hostage Nicole Regis. She was a shoulder to cry on, albeit at gunpoint.
She's talking to someone. Mr. Brooks indicates to her that he's not going to hurt her, that the police are here, and he is talking to Miss Regis about the relationship, the very poor relationship he has with his family, and that basically his family have betrayed him and have brought him to do what he's doing today.
He's looking around. He still has the gun that's now on her shoulder.
He was irate. He was a very dangerous individual, very agitated, non-responsive. He was not open to any form of negotiation. And he was just basically shielding himself with a hostage, pointing the gun to her repeatedly. Just a nasty situation altogether.
Sergeant Sharkey's negotiations were going nowhere. There was only one way to be certain of resolving the standoff.
We have to always think the worst is going to transpire. And so when we get on scene, we hope and try for negotiations. We try to contain somebody, prevent them from moving around. But we always have to think the worst can possibly happen, and we have to have sort of the antidote in place for that. And really, if things were going to go bad, the best person to have in that position was a sniper, and Gord Lusby specifically.
On our team, my designation would be Sierra 1. I'm our #1 sniper, and I probably shoot that rifle every day. It's just something you do every scenario when you get set up as a sniper. It's just an ongoing thing to prepare for that time.
For Gordon, that time had come.
He's not talking, he's waving the gun around, so we need a Sierra unit on scene.
Gordon had been deployed to hostage takings many times before, but this time was going to be different.
I get the call to suit up, run downstairs, grab my rifle, set up the car, run upstairs, get changed quickly as I can. The adrenaline's always pumping, always. But your training and your techniques that you usually do come forward and they'll take over the situation.
Yeah, this is Sierra 1. I'm on route, be heading down to the DVP in a moment.
This is obviously a live shot as we're searching for whatever we can see, and the tactical squad, ETF from Toronto Police are in various positions trying to deal with the situation. We do not know what has triggered any of this.
At 8:42 a.m., sniper Gordon Lusby arrived at the scene.
I actually saw a regular police officer standing not too far away, so I asked him to come over just to watch my back while I was getting ready. I got kitted up, put the balaclava helmet, my low-bearing vest on, I got my rifle ready, and was at the time still also listening to my radio, trying to decipher where exactly they wanted me to go.
40, are you on the air? 40? Just dismount the car, coming up right now.
Gordon needed a location which would give him what police call the 100% solution, a clear line of fire with no room for error. His teammates had found him a sniper position hidden behind the pillars of Union Station.
Gordo, if you take the south side and stick right up against the station and drop down to the lower entrance, loading ramp here, you have a solution.
With his rifle readied and over his shoulder, Gordon went to the spot. Unnoticed by Brooks, he took aim.
Where I set up, he had his hand draped over her shoulder. The gun was pointing right at me. He didn't realize that, but when I got up through my scope, when I first got into position and looked up at him, his barrel of his gun was pointing directly at me.
Let's go back to what's really happening here. This is breaking news here on Breakfast Television. This is what we understand. Toronto police are engaged in a hostage situation. We are hearing that a man armed with a gun is holding a woman hostage.
The police communications centre was coordinating radio traffic and monitoring the media. The emergency task force was informed that their every move was being shown to TV audiences.
Information from 31, just advising City Pulse was broadcasting this live. Just wanted officers to be aware of this.
Typically when we respond to a call, there's a lot of eyes on us, whether it be other policemen or specifically the media as well too. We're kind of used to having their eyes on us. Our team is extremely professional in that manner, contrary to a lot of portrayals by Hollywood and things like that.
Watch for developments as they continue here on Breakfast Television, and we'll be taking you through this.
No one knew what would happen next, and every moment was running live on TV.
This situation right at...
This is Union Station. This is the Royal York Hotel. The suspect was standing right about here in front of Union Station. And I had camera people. Peter Kine was here with the live eye operator just parked down the street.
City News, Jamie speaking.
By covering the story live, local station City TV was running a risk of broadcasting a potentially violent ending to the crisis on breakfast television. It was a risk they were prepared to take.
That's the nature of live news gathering. Our job is to show the public as true a representation as we can of what's going on in the city. But if it happened live, then it happens live.
We're giving you as many live looks as possible so that you can understand the complexity of this situation.
Hey, get back there.
Down on the street, onlookers were trying to make sense of what they could see.
You can see him now. You can see the fellow right there sitting with the woman. What do you think? I think it's terrible.
Even an old hand like CTV reporter Peter Murphy couldn't quite believe what he was witnessing.
I'm just looking at the guy now. I'm about 150 meters away from him.
I was amazed that we were able to get this close because I've been to a few of these kind of hostage takings, never one where it's out in front in full view. And I said to the cameraman, I said, George, we could be in the line of fire here. If they start shooting, we're going to be hit. And so I stood behind him, where all good reporters stand behind, and a cameraman, and he started rolling.
You're in the line of fire.
What do you think about this?
Stupid. I don't know what the reason is, but there's other ways to deal with your issues, right?
Okay, George. Thank you, Dave, very much. Police officers were trying to push us back. We didn't go back. There were 30 people standing behind us, looking, shaking their heads, couldn't believe that this was going on.
Hi, I'm Peter Murphy with CTV.
How are you doing?
Peter was gathering material for bulletins later in the day. Angela Naus was struggling to find enough information to feed back to the live studio.
How much chaos has this created in the street out in front of Union Station? Because it is a busy street, and is it filled with police vehicles?
The street has been taped off. The police vehicles aren't technically right in front of Union Station. They're at either end of the block, which you know is Bay on one and York on the other.
The facts were really loosey-goosey. The police really weren't talking. So what I started to do was, you know, you get to a point where once you've reported what you see in front of you and there's no movement, you have to start thinking, being more creative and start thinking about other things that you could sort of speak to.
Have you...
I heard a few people coming out of Union Station saying, the police told me to get out, the police told me to get out, and that's about it.
The situation was at a standstill. Sergeant Sharkey's negotiations had failed. Apart from one shouted sentence, Brooks had remained silent. Even the media had run out of things to say.
We'll be right back. Stay with us.
The whole of Toronto was holding its breath.
You could see people starting to gather. You could see the silent sort of whirring of the police sirens. I noticed the pigeons on top of the station almost seemed to be watching too. They were totally motionless. So everything just seemed to be totally focused. All the energy of the moment was totally focused in on what was happening in front of the hot dog stand in front of the train station.
You could hear a pin drop out there as police make their...
I remember being behind the pillar, and I was amazed that we're in a city of roughly 3 million people. All those eyes are on us right now, and I could hear birds flapping. I could hear Tom, Sergeant Sharkey, speaking to the suspect, and it was like everything just stopped.
I just got the sense that the situation was very menacing. It was just this pregnant sense of doom for somebody, and it was just 40 minutes, if I recall, of them trying to negotiate. And from my vantage point, Brooks did not seem to be seriously mulling the alternatives, or did it look like he was going anywhere?
Nicole Regis had been held captive for 35 minutes by an increasingly agitated gunman.
She just froze and stayed very calm, very calm. I think it was probably the best thing she could ever have done. She didn't panic. She stayed calm, and the calmer she stayed, the calmer he would probably be. What she did was very brave and very, very clever.
The situation was critical. All she could do was wait.
I wasn't sure what at the time, but something in the back of your head's just saying, oh, something's not right, something's different this time, and something bad is going to happen.
He seemed to get more erratic. You'll see him maneuvering the young lady around and pointing the gun around. He also began to start pointing the gun at us. He actually began to look down the barrel as he was aiming it at me, like he was actually trying to take an aim shot.
The hair is all standing up in the back of my neck. I'm getting that feeling that, I'm going to have to do something here. I'm going to have to take that shot.
Have you got a solution right now? From time to time, I get about half a head.
Gordon's position gave him a clear view of his intended target, Anthony Brooks, but simply seeing him was not enough.
I would have been very reluctant to take a shot from there. It's one thing to take the shots at the range. You can do it in your sleep. It's another thing when you see another human being holding another human being's life in their hands in front of you, saying, can you really, really make this shot? And again, don't miss.
Gordon had to pinpoint the perfect shot, the instantaneous kill, the 100% solution.
Most snipers in the world will train in shooting into what we call a cranial vault, basically a band, almost like a ski mask area around your head, which gives you the greatest chance of incapacitation if a bullet goes into that location. In other words, it's less likely for a reflex action, someone squeezing the trigger.
It's like turning a light switch off. Your muscular system will just shut down. Your nervous system will just shut down. It's a 100% guarantee that when you hit that shot, that he's just going to drop like he's been turned off.
122, Busby, go on to Alpha 1. Only Gordy. Repeat, go on to Alpha 1.
I got word over my headset to switch over to a secure channel that we use just for the sniper. I get over the air and I tell my team and my supervisor that I have a 100% solution on the subject, which means basically that at any given second that I am prepared to take that shot and I'm ready to go.
Advice, Chris and I are on your 7 o'clock. 100% solution at this point.
Angela, have you heard any shots fired? There were reports earlier that someone had heard a shot fired. Any indication that that's been the case?
No, Harry, I have not heard any shots fired.
The police and the gunman had reached stalemate. Brooks would neither negotiate nor surrender. Sergeant Sharkey had run out of time.
Again, I'm trying to speak to him. He aims down the barrel. At that time, I gave the order to have the sniper fire.
I got the word to take the shot. So it was, I don't know how to word that, but it was an overwhelming feeling of me relaxing, because now the decision wasn't mine to make. And it made it so much easier for me to take that shot now because I'm being told to take the shot. I knew when the order was given, I knew who it was coming from. So it was just a very quick and clear, loud, take the shot, take the shot, take the shot.
If you hit me at 40 miles an hour, there's around an 80% chance I'll die. Hit me at 30 and there's around an 80% chance I'll live.
The new 7-seat Citroen C4 Picasso. The Visio Space. Just imagine what Citroen can do for you.
Ladies and gentlemen. The thing about writing a best man speech, get it right, you're a hero. Get it wrong, you're a dead man. There must be websites you can rip witty anecdotes from.
Only BT Total Broadband includes Wi-Fi minutes, which give you wireless access when you're out, as well as at home. So you can now take your broadband with you.
But apparently you can hear them in Nairobi! Look at his face!
Get a more complete broadband experience from $9.95 a month for the first 6 months.
What has this man done to get his passport seized, have day and night curfews imposed on him, be denied access to the phone or internet? What has he done to be placed under partial house arrest and to have had no trial? Dispatches investigates At Home with the Terror Suspects, Monday at 8 on 4.
Welcome back to Breakfast Television. Astonishing news, breaking news from our streets right now. We're giving you a live look at Front Street, where we're hearing that a man armed with a gun is holding a woman hostage.
Hostage Nicole Regis's fate was out of her hands, poised between a gunman and a police sniper. Chief Negotiator Sergeant Sharkey had to make a choice.
The officer is pointing the gun, waving around at the officers at this point.
10-4 suspect waving the gun around at the officers.
When someone points a gun at you, okay, who, especially in a situation where you know it's a real gun and they've previously fired that gun, you certainly make the assumption they're going to try and kill you. And at that time, I gave the order to have the sniper fire.
I was about to shoot this person with no one telling me to, which would be then all on my shoulders. Or now someone's told me to do it. It felt like someone on your back saying, "It's okay, Gord, it's okay." So it was just a very quick and clear, loud, take the shot, take the shot, take the shot.
Melody's fine with it, I am too. Okay. Although I told another individual from the CBC, they shot him.
Suspect is down, suspect is down, get an ambulance immediately.
10-4 suspect down.
The victim is safe.
10-4 victim safe.
Harry, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
They have taken him down. He's been shot in the head. The hostage is away from him.
He's been shot. He's been shot.
Ambulance! When the shots rang out, my immediate reaction was, I yelled out, "He shot! He shot!" And of course, as a reporter, you're not supposed to do that kind of thing. You're supposed to stay detached, but I was just so shocked.
Shots were fired. We've just heard that shots have been fired. This is in the second situation.
By being on the wrong live camera at the wrong time, City TV spared Toronto's breakfast show viewers the spectacle of a man being shot dead on live TV. But eyewitnesses at the scene struggled with seeing the final moments of the crisis for real.
He's been shot.
It was almost like the ultimate theater. There were none of the sort of stock things that you see when a hostage situation in a movie is building to a boiling point.
Ambulance!
There was no soundtrack. It was just quiet, and there was a shot, and then a body crumpled in a very unnatural way.
Hey, get back there. Get back there.
For reporter Peter Murphy, the reality of the shot didn't hit home until he saw it on the screen.
It wasn't until I got into the edit suite that we took a look at the two camera positions that we had, and we had to go back and forth over the moment of when this man gets his head blown off, and you look at it in slow motion, and we were deciding, well, we can't show the actual event happening, so we have to freeze frame it.
Another individual from the CBC. They shot it.
Is the lady okay? Oh my God.
She's okay.
That, really upset me, and I've been in a lot of ugly situations in my 40 years in journalism.
It was ridiculous. One of those things you never think you'd see. Like you see in a movie and you're like, yo, cool. It's not cool, man. It's not cool at all.
Now we're looking at what looks like could be the female hostage. She's being patted on the back.
Very quickly, officers sort of swooped in and gently walked her right toward me. She was within 10 feet of me, and it was just a bizarre look on her face. It was almost a smile, but you have to think that it was more just a nervous smile, and her mouth was agape, and I won't forget that look on her face.
For the hostage, the onlookers, and the media, the drama was finally over. But for the emergency task force, another chapter was just beginning. They were now the subject of a criminal inquiry, conducted by the Special Investigations Unit. This may be standard practice when the authorities kill a civilian, but the SIU still had to determine whether the police had acted appropriately. And the man who took the shot, Gordon Lusby, found himself at the heart of the inquiry.
You are locked into a room, they come and, you got to leave your gun belt and your clothes behind, and it's kind of humiliating. You train, you do what you're supposed to do, and you do what you're told to do, but then there's that whole gray area of, am I going to get in trouble for this? I couldn't sleep a wink for 4 nights, wide awake, and that actually bothered me quite a bit because I was 100% okay with what happened. After the 4 nights of sleepless nights, my wife told me that I was actually sleeping, but I was having horrible nightmares and, waking up in the middle of the night and in a cold sweat.
The investigation uncovered 2 crucial details, vital facts which were only revealed when the police watched CCTV footage of the day's events.
Brooks was going to take his ex-wife's life that day of August 25th and then take his own life.